Hi, Bob Thompson for Smartphone Matters. In this video, I'm going to take a look at some speed test results for Straight Talk's Verizon network. I have my iPhone SE here on the table, and I recently signed up for Straight Talk's Verizon network, and I'm working on a tutorial to show you how to sign up, but until I get that done, I thought it would be interesting to see what kind of speed test results we see with Straight Talk's Verizon network. If you watch the Smartphone Matters YouTube channel, you know I have plenty of speed test results for Straight Talk's AT&T network, and I even have some for Straight Talk's T-Mobile network, but this is the first time I've had the opportunity to test Straight Talk's Verizon network. Now, over on smartphonematters.com, many Straight Talk Verizon customers have shared with me that they seem to see that this download speeds on Straight Talk's Verizon network are limited to 5 megabits per second. So I'm going to run my tests here and we'll see what kind of results I get. So far, it's looking like this may be true. You can see that the ping times are relatively high. And right now, actually, you could see that the speed hit about 6 or 7 megabits per second before backing down to 5 megabits per second. So I'm actually thinking that this might be true. The speeds do look like they have been limited. Now, the rumor is it's not Straight Talk that's limiting this speed, it's Verizon. Supposedly, when Verizon lets other prepaid wireless companies like Straight Talk use their LTE network, they have limited the speed to 5 megabits per second. Now, that's not an entirely uncommon practice. For example, Cricket Wireless, which is owned by AT&T and uses AT&T's network, limits the LTE download speeds to 8 megabits per second. So it's not just Straight Talk and Verizon that are doing this. It is a practice in the prepaid wireless industry to do this. For years, many Verizon customers were telling me how fast their LTE service was on the Verizon network, that they would see high double-digit and even triple-digit speeds on Verizon's LTE network. Now, I've never really seen them. I've had borrowed a lot of phones and tried running speed tests, but in the Boston metro area, I just have never seen really high speeds on Verizon's LTE network. Running the test here, you can see that the speed goes up to about 7 megabits per second and then quickly backs down to 5 or under 5 megabits per second. So this really is looking to me like there may be a restriction on the speed. Now, I don't really have a bias as to what network people use. I mean, I don't really care. I tell people use the network that works best in your area. You want to make sure that you have coverage. And for many people in many parts of the country, Verizon is the only network that has coverage. I'm going to let this last speed test finish, then we'll take a look at the results. All right, I ran 4 tests. You'll see that the upload speeds are all just over 5 megabits per second. The download speeds are about 2 megabits per second, and the ping times are all just over 100 milliseconds. Now, I have my Nexus 6 here, and it also is on Straight Talk's Verizon network. And I thought I'd run the tests on Android and on the Nexus 6 just to see if we see any kind of different results. And again here, you'll see the speeds shoot up over 5 megabits per second. It went into the 6 range, and then it kind of backs down under 6. I'm not really expecting to see much different here. I just had this phone active on Straight Talk's Verizon network as well, and I thought it would be worthwhile to take a look at the results. And I'll run one more test. All right, let's take a look at the results. So it's going to be the top 3 tests were the ones I just ran, and you'll see they're all about 5.5 megabits per second down, and they're all about 2.25 to 2.5 megabits per second up, and the ping times are all over 100 milliseconds. So it really does look to me like the speed is limited on the Verizon network. One thing I did want to show you here is I have 4 bars or dots on the iPhone for signal strength. On the Nexus 6, I also have 4 bars. So the signal strength is pretty strong. So here's a side-by-side comparison of the results from the 2 phones. They look pretty similar. So I'm going to say that I do think that Straight Talk's Verizon network is limited to 5 megabits per second on the download speeds. At least that's what it looks like to me. All right, if you found this video useful, give it a like on YouTube. If you want to see more videos from me, subscribe to the Smartphone Matters YouTube channel. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them below, or better yet, head on over to Smartphone Matters. Thanks for watching.